Have you ever wondered why, despite everything you've tried, life still feels like it's slipping through your fingers? That question sits in the back of your mind, heavy and unmoving, like a truth you've been avoiding for far too long. And maybe no one around you notices it. Maybe you've mastered the art of appearing fine, but deep down you know something is off, something is missing. Something inside you is quietly asking for help, even if you've never said the words out loud. And that's why you're here, listening, hoping that maybe, just maybe, you'll find the clarity you've been searching for. You're not broken, you're not behind, you're not failing, you're simply lost. And there is nothing shameful about that. But I know it doesn't feel that way. Feeling lost makes you question everything, your choices, your abilities, your worth. It makes you feel like everyone else is moving forward while you're stuck in the same place, fighting the same battles, replaying the same thoughts until your mind feels like it's about to crack under the pressure. You wonder why it's so hard for you, why clarity comes so easily to others, why your path feels like an endless maze with no clear direction. You ask yourself if this is all there is. If this confusion, this emptiness, this quiet ache in your chest is your new normal, but listen closely, because here's the truth most never tell you. Feeling lost isn't a sign that your life is falling apart. It's a sign that your life is transitioning. Something inside you is shifting, stretching, trying to grow into a version of you that you haven't met yet. The discomfort you feel isn't punishment. It's evolution. You're not trapped, you're transforming. And transformation doesn't feel clean or calm or controlled. It feels messy. It feels confusing. It feels like walking through fog with no map, no clue, and no promise that you'll make it out. But you will. And the fact that you're still searching, still trying, still listening right now, this is proof that you haven't given up on yourself, even if it feels like you have. Think about everything you've survived, everything you've managed to keep going through, even when your heart felt heavy and your mind felt tired. You're stronger than you think, stronger than you allow yourself to believe. But strength doesn't always show up in loud, confident ways. Sometimes it shows up in the quiet moments, the ones where you whisper to yourself that you'll try again tomorrow. The moments where getting out of bed was the victory. The moments where you held yourself together when everything inside you felt like it was falling apart and maybe you don't see progress. Maybe all you see is the gap between where you are and where you thought you'd be. But the truth is, you're already moving. Every moment spent questioning your life is a sign that you're not satisfied staying where you are. Every moment spent searching for answers is momentum. Every moment spent listening to words like these is you choosing hope instead of giving up. Whether you realize it or not, you're already changing. You're already shifting towards something better. You don't need to have the whole path figured out. You only need one thing, the willingness to keep going. The willingness to believe that clarity comes to those who refuse to stop searching for it. And if you stay here, if you lean in, if you allow yourself to feel what you've been suppressing, we'll find something you didn't expect. A way forward that actually feels like yours. Not something forced, not something borrowed, something real, something grounded, something that fits the person you're becoming, not the person you were pretending to be. So stay with this moment, stay with this feeling. Because the fact that you're still here means you're closer to clarity than you think, and you deserve to reach it. You've been holding so much inside that you've forgotten what it feels like to breathe without a weight pressing against your chest. But something is shifting in you right now. You can feel it, a quiet tension, a pull toward change. And even if it scares you, even if a part of you wants to retreat back into your old patterns, something stronger is rising beneath the surface. It's the part of you that's tired of waiting, tired of doubting, tired of shrinking yourself to fit a life that no longer feels like yours. You've spent so long convincing yourself that your voice doesn't matter, that your dreams are too unrealistic, that you're asking for too much from a world that rarely gives anything back. But that story is cracking. You can sense it. The more you listen, the more you realize you've been living in a cage built from fear and uncertainty, not truth. And once you see the bars, you can't unsee them. Once you recognize the limits, you can't pretend they're natural. You start to understand that you've been waiting for permission to live when the only person who can grant it is you. There's a version of you that knows exactly what you want. A version that doesn't apologize for wanting more. A version that doesn't settle for half-lived days and numb routines. But you buried that version of yourself because life got loud and responsibilities piled up and expectations from others became chains you learned to carry. Yet here you are now, feeling the weight of those chains more than ever, not because you're weaker, but because you're finally strong enough to outgrow them. This feeling inside you, the restlessness, the discomfort, the urge to break free, it's not a sign that you're lost. It's a sign that you're waking up. Awakening is painful. It disrupts everything. It shakes the beliefs you clung to for stability. It forces you to face the truth that you were made for something bigger than simply surviving your own thoughts. And once that awakening starts, you can't go back to who you were. And only move forward even if the path is messy, unclear, and filled with doubt. Doesn't mean stop. Doubt means you're standing at the edge of something meaningful. Something that demands courage from you. Something that doesn't reward hesitation. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need a perfect plan. You only need to accept that staying where you are is no longer an option. Life won't wait for the moment you feel confident. Opportunities won't pause until you figure everything out. Time won't slow down just because you're scared. And deep down, you know you can't afford to wait any longer. The world moves forward, and you deserve to move with it. Not in the shadow of others. Not as a spectator to your own life, but as someone who steps in with intention, even if your hands shake, even if your voice trembles, even if every part of you is terrified of failing. Fear isn't a barrier, it's a signal. It shows up when something matters, and the more it rises, the more it proves that where you're heading is worth the risk. You've held yourself back long enough. You've minimized your desires long enough. You've convinced yourself to settle for less long enough. It's time to step into the life that keeps calling you. Not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect. Now, because the version of you that you're meant to become can't grow inside the walls you built out of old pain and old stories. You have to break them. You have to choose yourself fiercely, even when it feels uncomfortable. And maybe you don't know exactly where you're going yet. That's okay. Most people don't. What matters is that you start moving, that you stop waiting for a sign and decide to become your own, that you trust the small voice inside you whispering that more is possible, because it is, because you're capable, because your life is bigger than the fear trying to contain it. Keep going, keep rising, keep choosing the person you're becoming even when the world underestimates you, especially then. You've spent so much of your life waiting for the right moment, the perfect sign, the guaranteed outcome. But deep down, you know that moment isn't coming. Not because you're unlucky or unworthy, but because life doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards movement. And movement is exactly what your soul has been craving while your mind kept stalling. Every dream you've buried, every desire you've silenced, every instinct you've ignored is rising again, louder than before, demanding that you finally listen. Because you're not meant to stay where you are. You're meant to grow beyond it, even if that growth scares you. You can feel the pull, the subtle tension between the life you're living and the life you know you're capable of creating. It's uncomfortable. It's unsettling. It's supposed to be. Growth doesn't feel like a warm light, it feels like pressure. It feels like breaking open. It feels like being stretched into someone you don't fully recognize yet. And that's why you've hesitated. Not because you're weak, but because you're standing on the edge of a version of yourself so powerful that stepping into it feels almost unreal. But the fact that it scares you is the greatest sign that it's meant for you. You've held on to your limitations for so long that they started to feel like truth. But they're not truth. They're habits. Old beliefs. Leftover echoes from moments that hurt you, moments that made you doubt yourself, moments that taught you to shrink when you should have stood tall. And even now, those echoes still whisper. They tell you to stay safe, stay quiet, stay small. But your heart has outgrown those whispers. You can feel it beating harder against the walls you built around it. Walls that once protected you, but now confine you. Every part of you that longs for more is not delusion. It's direction. It's your future self reaching back, pulling you forward, urging you to step into a life where you don't apologize for wanting better. And yes, stepping into that life will require courage. Not the loud, heroic kind you see in movies, but the quiet kind. The courage to choose yourself when no one else understands why. The courage to act without certainty. The courage to trust the smallest spark of hope inside you more than the loudest fear. Change never begins with clarity. It begins with discomfort. It begins when you realize that staying where you are hurts more than taking the risk to move. And right now, you know exactly what that feels like. You know the heaviness of ignoring your own potential. You know the emptiness of pretending you're fine when you're not. You know the disappointment of watching days pass without becoming the person you promised yourself you'd be. And that disappointment isn't there to punish you. It's there to push you. It's there to remind you that life is slipping by, moment by moment, and none of it is waiting for you to feel ready. You get one chance at this life. One. And you've already spent too much of it doubting your worth, dimming your light, settling for routines that don't fulfill you. It's time to break that pattern. Not next week, not someday, now. Because the longer you cling to the familiar, the further you drift from the future you secretly crave. And you know you crave it. You can feel it in the way your heart jumps when you imagine something better. In the way your mind wakes up when you think about who you could become. In the way your entire body reacts when you sense that you are made for more than what you've been accepting. Choose yourself. Choose the path that scares you because it also excites you. Choose the life that demands effort because it also offers meaning. Choose the voice inside you that says go, not the one that says wait. And once you choose it, commit. Fully, fiercely, unapologetically. Stop negotiating with fear. Stop shrinking for comfort. Stop abandoning yourself for the sake of staying the same. You are standing at the doorway of a life that will change everything. All you have to do is step through. You feel it building inside you, the pressure, the hunger, the undeniable. Pull toward the life you know you were meant to live. It's been whispering to you for years, but now it's louder, clearer, impossible to ignore. And the more you try to settle, the more it refuses to stay quiet. That pull exists because you're standing on the edge of a breakthrough, even if everything around you still looks the same. Change doesn't announce itself politely. Shakes you. It stirs you. It makes you restless in places where you used to feel numb. And that restlessness you've been feeling isn't a burden. It's your awakening. You've spent too long letting your fears negotiate your future. Too long letting doubts talk you out of the things your heart has already chosen. Every time you took a step forward, a familiar voice pulled you back, reminding you of every failure, every mistake, every moment where you fell short. But that voice isn't prophecy, it's memory. And memory is not your destiny. You are not chained to who you used to be. You are not trapped in the identity you built while trying to survive. You're allowed to become someone new, someone stronger, someone bolder, someone who stops apologizing for wanting a life that actually feels like living. The truth is, you've underestimated your strength. You've looked at your pain as proof of your weakness, when in reality it was preparing you for the moment you're stepping into right now. The nights you couldn't sleep, the mornings you almost gave up, the days where you felt invisible, unheard, unimportant. Those moments didn't break you. They shaped you. They carved resilience into your bones. They taught you how to stand back up when everything inside you wanted to stay down. And whether you see it or not, that resilience is the reason you're still here, still hoping, still trying. But hope means nothing without action. And action begins with a decision. One simple decision to stop backing down from the life calling your name is the moment where you choose to stop settling. This is the moment where you choose to stop letting fear dictate the chapters you haven't lived yet. This is the moment where you take control. Even if your hands shake, even if your heart trembles, even if every part of you feels the weight of uncertainty. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to move anyway. You already know what staying the same feels like. You know the disappointment of holding yourself back. You know the frustration of waking up day after day knowing you're capable of more but doing nothing to reach for it. And that feeling, the heaviness of unrealized potential, is more painful than any failure you'll ever face. That pain is your warning. It's your reminder that comfort is a trap, that playing small is a slow death, that waiting for the perfect moment is the fastest way to lose your entire life without ever living it. So don't wait. Don't look for signs. Don't ask for permission. Stand up for the life you want, even if you have to do it shaking. Start before you're confident. Begin before you feel ready. Build something worth living for while fear screams in your ear, because fear only screams when you're standing at the doorway of something powerful. And you are. You're closer than you think. Closer to the person you're meant to become. Closer to the future that's been waiting for you to finally step into it. This is your turning point. This is your chance to rewrite everything. To choose growth over stagnation. To choose purpose over routine. To choose the version of yourself you've been too scared to meet. And if you take even one step today, you'll feel it. A shift, small but undeniable. A new momentum pulling you forward, a spark finally catching fire, because the life you imagine isn't fantasy. It's a reflection of what's possible for you. And the only thing standing between you and that reality is the decision you make right now. You've carried a vision inside you for so long that it almost scares you to admit it. Not because it's impossible, but because you know it would demand a version of you that you haven't fully stepped into yet. And that's why you've hesitated. That's why you've doubted. Because deep change doesn't ask for a small effort. It asks for everything. It asks for your honesty, your courage, your willingness to let go of the familiar, even when the familiar feels safer than the future you're dreaming of. But safety has never helped you grow. Safety has only kept you comfortable, and comfort is the enemy of becoming. You can feel the truth rising inside you. You're done settling. Done pretending you're okay with half-lived days and muted dreams. Done pretending the life you want is too far, too late, too unrealistic. You've dimmed your own fire for so long that you forgot what it feels like to burn with purpose. But that fire is coming back. Slowly, then suddenly. And once it lights up again, there's no going back to the person who played small to make the world comfortable. You weren't born to just exist. You weren't born to drift through life hoping something changes. You were born to create change, to shape your own path, to rise from every setback with more determination than before. And if you felt tired, lost, or overwhelmed, it's only because you're outgrowing the life that once felt normal to you. That discomfort isn't failure, it's expansion. It's your mind refusing to stay trapped in the limits you once believed were permanent. Every powerful transformation begins with a breaking point. The moment you finally say no more. The moment you realize you're done wasting your potential on excuses, distractions, and fears that have never brought you anything but regret. And maybe this is your moment. Maybe this is where the old version of you begins to crumble, not because you're falling apart, but because you're making space for the person you were always meant to become. Stop running from the life that scares you. Run toward it. Run toward the challenges that force you to grow. Run toward the dreams that ignite something electric in your chest. Run toward the possibilities that make your heart beat faster, even if they come wrapped in uncertainty. Because uncertainty is the birthplace of every miracle you've ever wanted. Nothing extraordinary grows in the soil of certainty. Growth lives in the unknown. You're not here to repeat your past. You're here to rewrite it, to take every scar, every mistake, every failure, and turn them into fuel. The pain that once tried to break you is the same pain that taught you how to rise. Every hardship made you sharper. Every disappointment made you hungrier. Every setback stretched your capacity to endure. And endurance is what creates champions, leaders, visionaries, people who refuse to give up on themselves even when the world doubts them. And make no mistake, your future self is waiting for you to stop underestimating your abilities. Waiting for you to stop holding back just because you're scared. Waiting